So far, the Nakuda that is relevant as we're going forward is this. The Frierdiker Rebbe had asked, how do you reconcile min Hameitzar from the constraint with korosi, which is like a casual call, as opposed to a cry? Min Hameitzar shavosi za'akti tza'akti. I supplicate, I cry, I beg, I entreat, but not I call, which is like someone calls a friend. Kriya. How do you reconcile that? That's the Frierdiker Rebbe's question. The Rebbe's question is, min Hameitzar, a Yid is just coming after all of the Avodah of Elul, or of Erev Rosh Hashanah by night, Rosh Hashanah in the morning. Min Hameitzar. So the whole mind is explaining how min Hameitzar is relative in a very profound way, explaining how it's relative even in the shofar. There's the ordinary shofar and this shofar, Godel. And a shofar is made, the Zohar says the halach is you have to blow from the narrow side to the broad side, reflecting this very pasuk, min Hameitzar, from the constraint I call you, Anoni b'merchavka, Hashem, answer me with the broadness, with your broadness, the broadness of the divine. So what's broad for the small, ordinary shofar rather, not small, but ordinary shofar, is narrow, a constraint. For the shofar Godel, as explained at length exquisitely. Ultimately, everything before God himself is Meitzar. And the words, it appears that Rebbe repeated throughout the Maimah, because they bring it later too, Enemt Gornit. He takes nothing, because he takes nothing means that his connection to Hashem is that which he grasps and the level that he attains. He takes nothing of God. He has levels, but they're nothing for him. This is like the Pikeach, right? Anon Nasiv Malka. The highest revelations, the Duchsin and the Dukes and the various divine attributes and spheres, and them, the God, he doesn't take them because they're insignificant. It's God alone. So therefore, at every level, min Hameitzar. Then he explained, so if that's sincere, why does Rashi explain the Gemara that a year that is poor in the beginning, kol shana shereishis, without an aleph, bitchilasa misasheres bacharisa. It's wealthy in the end, or yesh lacharis, it has a future. And Rashi explains, what does it mean that Yisrael oisin atzman roshin? They make themselves poor. And they speak with terms of supplication and so on. But our explanation now, and the reason we gave it is because this cannot be lip service. It has to be sincere. So then, now that we've appreciated that everything before Hashem is a Mitzar, in the end, is a narrow little place, a confinement. So it's not Oisin Atzim Roshin, we truly are poor. The answer that he explains is because we really can't appreciate it. We can't appreciate it because we're locked into ourselves. And therefore, with your abounding mercies, have mercy upon us. Because only you understand the true Rachmanas on us. So therefore, that explains why we make ourselves poor in the sense that we do not and cannot appreciate our own insignificance. Because we're created with a sense of self. In fact, arguably, it's fundamentally impossible to entertain your own insignificance. If you're entertaining, so you are an entertainer of some kind. There's an entity here. So it's bottle b'metzias. So therefore, oisin atzmo rasha. It's the objective truth that we cannot appreciate. And so we're saying it even though we cannot truly experience our own nothingness, our own mitzar. That's where we're up to. No, we went further. We went on to say, but this hergish is also true because we're not responsible. God made us this way. There's das Elyon and there's das Tachten, and das Tachten is divine. Kel Deus Hashem. God is the God of knowledges. Who made us and who made us with our limitations? God did. So therefore, it's a true perspective. It's a true perspective, but it is not the objective ultimate perspective, and that's das Elyon. So this is sincere and true, and it's still oisin atzmon, because we acknowledge that yes, das Tachten is a valid perspective because you created us with a sense of self which is inescapable. But at the same time, there is a das Elyon, and there is an objective truth that all is absolutely of bottle b'metzius to God, nothing other than the consequence of God's will. Nothing has any independent reality. That is a truth that das Elyon expresses. So we acknowledge that oisin atzmon, but it's still sincere. Our position is sincere and true because that's how God made us. And Torah itself validates kel deus Hashem. All right, so that's what we're up to. He explains at the end of that ois that currently Sevev Kalalmid is beyond us, but Mashiach will come. That's going to be internalized by Pnimius, like Mamala Kalalmin, and their Munah remains. And Munah remains, in other words, connecting to that which is beyond remains and higher, ever higher levels, and so on. Oy Zion. The Maimah gets very heavy, friends. Let's learn it. V'hinei kivan shambidis haposek min ha'mitzar korosi b'Rosh Hashanah. Since saying this posek min ha'mitzar from the constraint I call on Rosh Hashanah before Tchias, which comes the Yachli Achon, they call it Avodah the Chedesh Shalal after the general Avodah preparation of Elul, and so on. And we're explaining that the min ha'mitzar is mitzad hakor because of the recognition, the acknowledgement. Shalagabe atzmas ein sof, even though we can't feel it, but we have the hakor, we have the literally the acknowledgement in this truth, even though we can't experience it. So once the acknowledgement that lagabe atzmas ein sof kula kamekel chashiv, be in the presence, in the face of atzmus, all is of insignificance for last machshavat v'sbeklal, and no thought can grasp him. Ubemail, and therefore ain't taisvim klum. In Yiddish again, those words that Rebbe said, as I mentioned before, menemt garnet. It's the Jew takes nothing. He doesn't give value to any level per se that is achieved. Therefore, mid-sentence now concluding it, Harim ha'mitzar shebazehu ha'mitzar ha'yoser gadol. This mitzar is the greatest mitzar, as opposed to a mitzar relative to a higher level yet to be attained. This is confronting the unattainable, and that's the greatest mitzar, as opposed to, again, the relative mitzarim, mashpia makabel dynamic that defines all of ishtalshalos, where a low level is a mitzar longing and yearning for connection to a higher level, and it's achievable. So the longing is a longing that is satisfied. It's requited, but in the face of Atzmus, it's unrequittable. So the Mitzar is the greatest. Adarab, our explanation in the end has made the Mitzar in its most absolute, uncompromised sense. because in the face of Atmos, we can never experience God or grasp him. As he goes on to say now in detail, there's a Hameitzar which is born from understanding. He's adding now actually something that I didn't say. He understands the constraint he's in. Why? Because he appreciates the level yet to be attained. And therefore his state of contriteness, of Mitzar, has a limit, it has a form. In Yiddish, can opmesten in was besteht der Mitzar. He can describe why he's in a Mitzar relative to the level yet to be attained. So it's descriptible. And if he can describe his Mitzar, it's not the absolute Mitzar, but Meila Einza Mitzar in a Mitzar. So why is he in a Mitzar? Because there's yet a level that he has to attain, and therefore he can define and describe his longing and his Mitzar, because he knows what he's longing for. He has a sense of it. He's gone through all of this process to get to the point where he is now. That all came as a result of a longing and then an attainment, longing and then hard work, and then attaining the level. So it's a descriptive Mitzar. Sharin nirgish etzlei gam shezeu inyan shel merchav legabe Mitzar shel amatim, because he knows that the Mitzar is in right now. Well, that's a merchav compared to a level below it. So it's all relative. And he'll attain the next level, Be'ezrat Hashem, that he's pining for, aspiring to. So it's a limited Mitzar, because again, it's recruitable. It can be achieved through great toil, but that level of connection and experience can be achieved. That level of bittul. But what's true Mitzar? When it's not a defined Mitzar, there's no form, which means no description, no limit to it at all. He confronts that which is fundamentally unattainable, totally and absolutely beyond, and therefore all the levels at any level is of no significance. Now look at these words, friends, that are coming now. This is the Mitzar of Rosh Hashanah before Tkiyas. She'oz meir hagilui da'atzmos oirin sof. God's very essence is revealed, and therefore, shemitzad zeh nirgash boi, she'ein leitfisa klal, there's no grasp in God at all, and nemt gone, that there's nothing to take away, to have achieved. And this is the ultimate min haMitzar korosiko, beifon shel heder metzias legamri, an absolute beyond mitzias. Not tomorrow I'll get it, and I'm able to, and it's beyond me. Shows meir hagilui the atzmas oirin sof before tkiyas. Not that we have any inkling, as the Maamar speaks, of what the world of a tzaddik, even the lowest level of tzaddik, is completely beyond our world. We can't relate to a life that godliness is the experience and materiality is marginal. and forgetful. That's the lowest level of tzaddik. Avin here is his life and so on. We're not talking about the Nosi Ador, obviously, how much more so. But for those of us, and some of you were there at Kiyas, and you heard the Rebbe say in Hameitzar, yeah. Mitzah betachlis, be'ofen shel heder ha'metzias lagamri. Because then it's not a question of levels and rungs. Then is meir, the golo, atzmos ein sof. It's the ultimate min ha'metzah. Truest min ha'metzah. Zeh gam shomra Chazal ala posuk. And this is what it says, what Chazal say in the posuk and Tilim. The posuk says, "Tiku b'chodesh shofar," blow. It's a very cryptic posuk. Blow in the month the shofar. It doesn't say what day of the month. But then it goes on to say, "Bakasa," when it's hidden, l'yoyim chagenu, to the day of our rejoicing. So the key word here is bakasa. You blow the shofar when it is hidden. What's hidden? The moon is hidden. Ezel chag shachodesh miskasaboy. Which Yom Tov is there in the Torah? There's only one, where the month b'chodesh bakasa, the month is hidden. What makes the month is the moon's cycle. So what Yom Tov is there when the month when the moon is hidden? It's Rosh Hashanah. Avim is Rosh Hashanah. So Chazal analyzed the pasuk and to conclude that the pasuk is talking about Rosh Hashanah. Tika b'chodesh shofar. This is a very important pasuk because the Torah doesn't even say to blow a shofar. It says Yom Teruah, but maybe it means trumpets. It's this pasuk, and it invokes the word shofar in connection with when the month is hidden and it's a Yom Tov, Yom Chagenu. There's only one Yom Tov that falls on the first day of the month when the moon is hidden, and that's Rosh Hashanah. Hence, we blow the shofar. That's the pshat of the pasuk. Now the question, l'chirid tzarich lovin, we have to understand. Gewaltige Geschenken, can't the pasuk be a little more obvious? It's not true that the logical deduction leads to that there must be Rosh Hashanah. The pasuk is talking about because it's the only Yom Tov where the moon is hidden. All the Yom Tovim where the moon is full. Pesach the 15th full moon and Sukkot the full moon. And the footnote says the Chag HaShavuos, the moon isn't full. Yeshlei Midashaynish, Shavuos is different. Shein is Shaykh B'chlali B'chodesh. Shavuos is not determined by a day in the month altogether. It's 50 days into the counting of the Omer. So it's got nothing to do with the month. But all the other Yomim Tovim are a day in the month when the moon is full. Rosh Hashanah is the beginning of the month. Taka true, the moon is concealed, so the pasuk can only be referring taka to what? The Rosh Hashanah of Gewalt of Mekamokin Wuvim Lombelim Befedish B'Chedesh Hashvi. Just say outright, Tiku B'Chedesh Hashvi. B'Reish Chodesh. Blow the shofar in the 7th month at the beginning. Why not say that? Why does the pasuk associate the blowing of the shofar? It doesn't want to say the seventh month. That's not the emphasis. The emphasis is the moon is hidden. We're associating the inyan of Tkiyah Shofar dafka with the inyan of the fact that the month, mainly the moon, is concealed. Why? Answers what we're learning. When is the moon concealed? That's the moment before the moon is born, literally, and observed. The moment before, it's totally concealed, eclipsed. That's the time when it's called the conjunction of the sun and the moon, when the sun and the moon are fully aligned and the moon is eclipsed. The moiled, I think I explained this once in shul. The moiled is actually midday somewhere in the world. That's what the moiled is. And the time that we give is, what time is that in Yerushalayim? But it's actually always midday, somewhere, at some point on the globe. When the sun and the moon are fully aligned with, at some point on the globe's surface. So the pasuk is connecting Tkiyah Shofar with that moment where the moon is eclipsed, but can't be seen. Because the moon, that's us. That's Neshamas Yisrael, Malchus. So the moon disappears for a moment. Had the Metzias. Not even a point. That's the next moment. That's the moiled. It's a millisecond later, fraction of a fraction. Actually, there's no number even for it because it's and the kuda, a point doesn't have any measure, not in space or in time. So it's just emerging. There's no term for it even. But even that not. That's nothing, of Kisei Alavana. So, and that's where we conclude. Shetola Kosa by Yom Rosh Hashanah, B'Mesh HaChodesh Miskase Boy. That's why the pasuk associates Rosh Hashanah with the complete and utter concealment of the moon. Why? That's the Hameitzar. Confronting Atmos, total bittul. No self-assertion at all. No sense of independence. Who inyan heder ametzias the gambari, complete lack of being, of independence. Ki, because iker in Rosh Hashanah binyan amalchos. It's a bit of a contradiction here. The whole inyan of Rosh Hashanah is to build up malchos. Malchos less than magamor klum. And malchos has no property of its own. It is complete bittul. So what does it mean to build up malchus? It means that bittul should pervade and be expressed. That's what binyan malchus means. Not becoming a big mitzias, but expressing the bittul of malchus. Us. The flip side is the building of God's sovereignty, the expression of the yesh amiti. So in that sense, it's the building, the coronation of God in our utter, selfless coronation of him, which goes on to explain what the koros is, the end of the Maimer. But let's see here. Friends, we're learning the words to start. Geen gam in Hameitzar Rosh Hashanah came to shofar. So that's the holding of Rosh Hashanah's binyan malchus. A malchus is complete bit the less lamagamoklam. It has nothing of her own at all. Complete lack of mitzias. So that's the mates of Rosh Hashanah before Tkiyah Shofar. Hameitzar boyfriend shall have the mitzias the gambling. This might be one of the reasons why there's no mitzvah to blow the shofar. The mitzvah is to hear it, to listen. The mitzvah of the Megillah is to read it. The Shliach Tzibur reads it.
It's expressed in the brachas. In
what?
The brachas say l'shmoya kol shofar, and by Megillah we say, what's the bracha before Megillah?
Al Mikra Megillah.
Mikra. So one is l'shmoya, and one is Mikra.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. But shofar is the inyan of to hear, because that's tachlis habit. He's not even, the moment he says, I'm bottle, he's not bottle. In the words of the Maimar, let me see it. The avoid of Rosh Hashanah of Tkiyah Shofar is not even an entity in a way, even a kudah, just barely tentatively there, not even that. Why? Because by Tkiyah Shofar, that moment is the revelation of the essence of Hashem. All before him is have naught. They're telling us to see the Sikha after the Maimer. I don't have the Svarim here. Maybe someone can post it.
I'll post it.
Please. Okay. Let's continue to h'tשכ. Okay, we're going to say the words now tomorrow. Oh, 1 second. There's no tomorrow. Yeah. No, it's Shabbos already by me. It's Thursday morning by you, yeah. So Friday. Yeah, so there's no shir tomorrow. It's already Shabbos here.
So Friday we do Chazara.
Huh?
So Friday we do Chazara.
Yeah, wouldn't it be wonderful? All got together, learned the Maimer.
At 7 o'clock. I'm sorry.
What?
Nothing.
Yeah, so we'll just read these words here now, friends. It needs to be, it's going to answer why Korosi, you're just calling. Hello? What? This is Gamasha Kosim and Meitzer Korosi, Veloy Shavasi, I entreat, Tzakti, I cry. Shemoid al Kriyab Shuta Dafka, just a simple calling of attention. Hayatochen. Min ha'mitzar Korosi, min ha'mitzar Shavasi, Tzakti. Vinyan Bezeh. Gewaltige Schwingen. Kasher ha'mitzar pitam v'das, when the mitzar, he appreciates his own paucity and he appreciates, because there's a level to be attained, but it's beyond him, but it's attainable. So it's tam v'das, and it's a whole process. So then, listen to this. So when you understand, you appreciate where you need to be and where you could be and where you came from. That's a gewalt. He's crying out. Adarabah. He's crying out means there's an appreciation of where he wants to be. And he appreciates the mitzar he calls out with the bitterness of his soul, in his constraint, in his desire to be free, like a person in prison. A person in prison, he knows what freedom is, but he's imprisoned and he wants to be there. So he cries out and begs and pleads to be free. This kind of Meitzar, it will be expressed in this Gewalt. Depending how difficult the imprisonment is, the freedom that will determine the nature of his cry and supplication and begging. Avol kashenimtze betachlis hametzar. He's not in the relative Mitzar, but in a true Mitzar, because every level of consciousness outside the Eibishter is a Mitzar, and therefore he's beheaded a Metzias Lagamri, and acknowledge, yes, we can't experience his friends, but he said we have a hakara, we have a recognition in this. How do we have that? Because the Maimah revealed it to us. So then, the whole drama, that tzayka, Ozlei Shaykhin shall tzayka v'zayka, when he truly appreciates the heder metzias, the lack of reality to anything other than God, no matter how lofty the experience. It's not a tzayka v'zayka, ki kriya pshuta. It's a simple call. Menametzar korosi dafke. Okay, we'll let this hang. I want you to think about it. And I need you to think about it further. I mean, the next ois, he addresses it. He adds explanation. When there's the emetz and meitzah, there's no drama. And there's no even like intensity. The cry, supplication. You'll forgive me, friends, but there's a line in one of Leonard Cohen's songs. There goes something like this. When you're on the stand, on trial, Rosh Hashanah on trial, you don't plead guilty. Guilty's too grand. Lili Nishmosai. He's a good boy, he tried. So we've got to think about this. Each one should think about it, internalize it. When it's a Meitzer Amiti in the face of Atmas Ein Sof, there's no Gewalt. It's a simple call. Okay, Be'ezer Hashem, we'll see this on Monday, yeah?
Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
Shabbos Fabren good. It's Shabbos before Slichas. And then the Slichas, the Fabrengen before Slichas. And we'll try to do likewise here. However, there's copies of this Maimer in the boardroom on the shelf. Please take it. Okay, friends.
Good Shabbos, Rabbi. Thank you.
Shabbos.
Shabbos.
Shabbos, good Shabbos.